You ready to hear the last? You guys are not. Are you guys ready to hear the last?
Yes.
Of course, it's not the last. So let's give it up for Mr. Christoph to give us how can discrimination be minimized to the atheist.
Once again, hello everyone and good afternoon. I found the video quite amusing because it's quite spot on the stereotypes on atheists. One thing I would like to ask everyone here: are there any atheists or non-believers in the house? Yes, raise your hand. Are there anyone who know the atheists and non-believers prior to those who raised their hands? You might say yes because you saw people raise their hands. Does anyone know any other atheist, agnostic, or non-believer prior to this event? Please raise your hands. Now, I am pretty sure people here have encountered atheists who are quite anti-theistic. I have to admit, I was once like that as well. But the thing is, I would give myself and others quite an excuse because it's only excusable, but only for a time. For a time, because a lot of new atheists find themselves at a realization that something that was enforced upon them, they find that it is questionable. They find that it is, in their analysis, false. They find it to be false. And looking back from my psychological background, it makes one feel angry because once you will feel betrayed. You will feel as if you've been bamboozled, you've been scammed into something that you did not ask for in the first place. And that's why a lot of new atheists right now are so anti-theistic. But the thing is, for every time you look at one who is anti-theistic, you will find other people who are more moderate, who are more willing to discuss, to engage in dialogue. The thing with this is, stereotyping is not merely on one side. There may be others who prove the stereotypes true, regardless of whether they are believers or non-believers. But there will be people who prove the stereotypes wrong. And for everyone who embodies that stereotype, there will be a dozen more who disprove that. Because one thing you have to do first, for the others, for the angry ones, one thing you have to do is learn more. Learn more about all the other religions. One cannot conclude, I was a deist first, I was a born-again Christian first. I was baptized into that. Then I became a deist. Then I became an agnostic, then finally an atheist. It's a conclusion that one arrives to. And perhaps it may be a conclusion that may change. We'll never know. But the thing is, the vital thing is, before you choose anything, before you conclude into anything, you must first invest in knowledge. A lot of people say atheists are angry because they're just miserable, jobless people. I can assure you, I am not a miserable, jobless man. Although, they forgot to mention my credentials. I am a financial consultant and assistant unit manager at True Life UK. Just so you know. Yeah. But a lot of people say that atheists are just jobless people. They deny God because they didn't get any of this. But then again, we have people such as the tired old example of Bill Gates, of people like Alan Turing, of people like Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs. You see, these kind of people disprove the stereotype that we are just miserable, jobless people. As I said, for every single one who proves it, there's a dozen more who disproves it. And that goes for Catholics, that goes for born-again Christians as well, that goes for Muslims. The thing we have here, one thing we have, is why we deal with stereotyping, is the law of association. You find one representative, and that single representative will make or break the reputation of an entire how do I say this, denomination of an entire
Faction.
collective, an entire faction, because it's a law of association. That single person could make or break that single faction in your eyes, because that single person creates that much of an emotional impact, creates that much of an intellectual impact. But one thing I ask of everyone, look beyond that single person. Take time to get to know more. Because a single person does not and cannot effectively represent an entire faction composed of maybe millions, tens of millions of people. One thing is clear, you will have to invest in more knowledge. You will have to explore more, get to know more, read more. Because that is what will keep your mind open to a myriad of possibilities. It will keep your mind open to a lot of options, to a lot of, how do I say this? Ideas. Because from there, only then can we conclude what we really want, what we are to subscribe to. And because of that way, one will not jump to conclusions quickly. You will not simply say, I hate that guy, he's an atheist. All atheists must be, how do I say this? I don't want to cuss. They must be miserable little pricks. Pricks.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to say that, okay? Or maybe you read one article about a priest sexually abusing a child. And you see a priest, you say, oh, child molester. No, you don't do that, okay? You don't judge a single faction on a single person. And that is the bottom line of what I have about the issue of stereotyping.
All right. So, Chris, they call you Satanist. Is that true?
Some of them do.
So it's not.
Nah.
Some of them.
Some of them
are.
do. Some of them conclude that I am a Satanist. Although, I have to say, I'd make quite an attractive Satanist. That's the case. But I assure you, no.
Give it up, Mr. Chris. All right. Thank you.